Universe 25. The parameters of the experiment were simple. The objective was to observe the effects of an ideal environment on a population of mice. A habitat was constructed. This structure was a multi-level enclosure designed to prevent overstimulation from constant visual contact. It was a metal pen, clean and sterile. It provided everything a mouse society could require for physical survival and comfort. The structure was meticulously planned to be a utopia, a world free from the typical pressures that limit population growth in the wild. This was to be a study of prosperity. The resources provided were unlimited. Food hoppers were kept perpetually full with a balanced diet. Water was supplied through an endless series of dispensers, ensuring no individual would ever experience thirst. The temperature within the enclosure was maintained at an optimal level, a constant and pleasant warmth that eliminated the need for huddling or seeking shelter from the elements. Nesting material was provided in abundance, allowing for the easy construction of comfortable and private homes for the inhabitants. In this carefully controlled world, there would be no struggle for the basic necessities of life. Furthermore, the habitat was a sanctuary. It was completely sealed off from the outside world and its many dangers. There were no predators. No hawks could swoop from the sky. No cats could stalk the unwary. The population was also protected from disease. The initial subjects were screened for pathogens, and the sterile environment prevented the introduction of new illnesses. The scientist, John Calhoun, created a world where the only challenge left for the mice was to live with one another. The experiment commenced with the introduction of 4 breeding pairs of healthy mice. These 8 individuals were the founders of a new world. They were placed into the bottom level of the vast enclosure and given time to acclimate. They explored their new home, finding the endless food, the constant water, and the plentiful materials for building their nests. Their initial behavior was exactly as expected. They were calm, healthy, and began the process of procreation. The stage was set for a population explosion within a world devoid of want or fear. This was the beginning. The initial phase of the experiment was a resounding success. The founding population adapted quickly to their idyllic surroundings. With no external pressures and an abundance of resources, the mice did what living creatures are programmed to do. They reproduced. The population began to double at a rapid rate, approximately every 55 days. The first generation was born into a world of plenty, with ample space to explore and establish their own territories. Life seemed perfect. The social structure was stable, males defending their territory, females diligently raising their young in well-kept nests. As the numbers swelled, the enclosure began to fill with the sounds and movements of a thriving society. Young mice played and grew into healthy adults, who then went on to have their own litters. The population climbed steadily from the initial 8 to hundreds. During this period of exponential growth, there were no signs of the troubles to come. The social dynamics were healthy and followed established murine patterns. The mice appeared content, active, and engaged with their community. The abundance of space meant that conflicts were rare and easily resolved. The dream of a perfect world was, for a time, a reality. This boom period demonstrated the sheer potential for growth when all physical needs are met without exception. The population curve on the scientists' charts climbed steeply, a testament to the biological imperative to multiply. Each new generation inherited a world that was just as perfect as the one their parents had known. There was no memory of scarcity, no instinct for the fear of predators. The mice lived in a perpetual present of comfort and safety. From an outside perspective, it was a miracle of prosperity. A tiny, bustling metropolis flourishing in its protected bubble, seemingly without a single concern. However, the very nature of this growth contained the seeds of its own demise. The enclosure, while large, was finite. The population continued its relentless climb towards a critical threshold. The space that once seemed endless began to feel occupied. The social density increased with every new litter born. Though resources like food and water remained infinite, the intangible resource of social space began to dwindle. The perfect world was on a collision course with its own success. The wave of life was cresting, and just beyond its peak, a dark and unforeseen undertow was waiting to pull the entire society under. It was waiting to pull the entire society under. When the population reached approximately 600 individuals. At this point, the enclosure was not physically full, but all available social roles had been occupied. The mice could no longer find meaningful functions within the community. The system began to break down. This phenomenon was termed the behavioral sink. A vortex of abnormal, destructive actions spiraled out from overcrowding. The first casualties were the most vulnerable, the young. The established rules of murine society started to fray, then completely unraveled. Maternal instincts evaporated. Many females abandoned their young, failing to build proper nests, failing to nurse their litters. Some forgot their pups, leaving them to perish. In extreme cases, females attacked and killed their own offspring. Males lost their purpose. They no longer defended territories or nests. Nests went undefended. Infant mortality rose as invaders roamed. The foundation of care and continuation began to crumble under crowd-induced stress. New disturbing behaviors emerged. Violence became commonplace. Gangs of males formed, attacking others without provocation. Aggression was random and pathological. Cannibalism was observed. Constant social stress, inability to find solitude, breakdown of hierarchies. The perfect world became a living nightmare, a cacophony of squeaks and frantic motion. Amidst the chaos, a distinct group appeared. The scientist called them the beautiful ones. They completely withdrew from social interaction. They did not fight. They did not mate. They did not care for young. They only ate. They only drank. They only slept. They only groomed, meticulously, physically perfect, sleek and healthy, untouched by violence, socially dead, contributing nothing, solitary recluses in a teeming world.